very good evening to all present. Today's speaker is Namrata Dhasmana, and she will be speaking on Building Trustworthy Robotics, a framework for responsible AI. Namrata ma'am is an entrepreneur, strategic leadership expert, and governance professional with over 22 years of experience spanning leadership, policy, and institution building. An alumni of IIM Lucknow and a Gallup certified professional, she is also a qualified independent director and has authored a policy paper on governance in entrepreneurship published by Routledge. Amrita ma'am's work and thought leadership focuses on strategic leadership, capability creation, governance frameworks, and succession planning, enabling organizations to build future-ready institutions. She is a veteran and sought-after speaker and advisor on leadership, policy design, and institutional excellence. She has been recognized by prominent global and national thought leaders for her strategic insights. It is our privilege to have her join us today and grace our forum with her insights. Namrata ma'am, please, over to you.
With the employees and with the leaders of artificial intelligence, robotics, what came to my mind while interacting with Bhushan was that how are we building a responsible world? How are we building the world which is certainly innovating? We cannot ignore robotics. And coincidentally, I just had one interaction with an entrepreneur in Europe, an Indian person who is residing in Europe. And of course, they are also doing wonderful work in robots. I'll share some of their experiences, challenges, and if that will add value to us at the end of the session. But quickly, we'll just start with today's session. And while interacting with Bhushan, when I spoke what should be the best that we should touch upon, we have already started building the society, touching the society with so much of, it's not automation, it's certainly much elevated level of work that when we talk about robotics. But then when we came to some point of governance or building more trust with our stakeholders, be it the clients or with the employees, governance is what came to my mind. And governance is something which I advocate very, very strongly, because this is just not a regulation or a policing, but a very important variable which makes the business sustainable and scalable. Because till the time if I'm also doing some kind of collaboration, till the time I don't see the frameworks are built on some kind of framework which is scalable, certainly the collaboration goes for miss. And this is one thing which I have come across with the Indian entrepreneurs wherever I have come across, mostly in the manufacturing sector, that the collaborations or scaling up becomes difficult. The investors' trust becomes difficult. So let's start with this as a context. The reason of my thought of touching on governance on this in this session was this. And we have already spoken about self, what is Namrata Dhasmana and everything, but a little about my initiative. I have two initiatives. One is Evolution Strategic Consulting Private Limited, and the other is Center of International Futures. Both have been conceptualized and incorporated with specific purpose. Evolution is certainly to build succession, to build capabilities of the organizations, to do the process efficiency, and Center of International Futures has its own purpose of research and other things. So that's what we Evolution are. We have done a lot of work in the space of OD with the manufacturing in the manufacturing sector as well, in the terms of strategic leadership in the manufacturing space of South African company also, where Henley was our business partner, was our knowledge partner, and that's what we are. And now quickly, why this conversation now? We are elevating, we are innovating, there's no doubt about it. And robotics are no longer confined to the factory floors. And I learned a little about Ajanu also through Bhushan, tried to understand the pulse of the manufacturing space which is coming up in Coimbatore. So robots are no longer confined to our factory floors. They assist surgeons, they assist patrol borders. In military also they are there. They manage warehouse, they drive vehicles if we see abroad, overseas. And increasingly now they are even making the decisions. And the moment machines move from tools to the decision makers, the question is no longer can we build it? The real question becomes is can we trust it? Are they taking space of our leaders? So that is the reason why we need to have this conversation in a very candid and a very informal way, so that we understand where are we heading and how are we heading. So trust in robotics is not about technology alone. It's about certainly governance, accountability, the safety, and the societal acceptance. Everything comes into play. So today, that's what I thought. I will walk you through practical framework in the Indian demographics, since all the Indian stakeholders are here, for building a trustworthy robotics using a responsible AI grounded in global standards and of course the Indian realities. I hope the presentation is visible. Someone to please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So why trust matters in robotics? What is the key message here? Because trust is now a license to operate. If there's a trust deficit, we are certainly not going to have the success in our own entrepreneurship or in our business. So certainly trust is a new license to operate in any demographics. So across the world, when we see the AI failures, they are no longer the technical glitches. They are treated as the governance failures, be it in the organizations or in the geopolitical space. But there's certainly a issue in the issue which is seen is the lack of governance, and a biased hiring algorithm, it becomes a discrimination case, societal, a faulty autonomous system, that becomes a liability issue, cost, it will give us a lot of cost issues, and then surveillance robot, that becomes civil liberties debate. So for robotics companies, trust now impacts market access, regulatory approvals, then the public acceptance, and of course the long-term valuation. So that's where when we see why trustworthy robots is absolutely a non-negotiable. What happens when trust fails? Because robotics now affect life, liberty, and even the livelihood. So failure triggers legal, reputational loss, the cost, and of course the geopolitical risk. We really cannot ignore the geopolitical influence as well in our business, in our organization. So trust is equals to competitive advantage plus a regulatory shield. And when we see the global context, the responsible AI norms, when we talk about globally responsible AI, is certainly no longer an option. There are reference points which are already established, be it European Union AI Act or OECD AI principles, which are human-centered or accountable AI, or we see the ISO AI risk management, or we see the US NICT risk management framework. So everyone has, or it's an ethical recommendation. So the frameworks globally are already well established. There is certainly a key global shift which is seen from innovation first to responsibility by design. So global responsible AI space, when we see European Union have a risk classification and compliance. The United States have safety, explainability, and accountability. The OECD has human rights and ethics. So we have to move forward some kind of global governance frameworks which can be maybe used in some or the other way, but certainly cannot be copied. So when we do the responsible AI in Indian landscape, what can be the framework, or what are the things which are unique as per the demographics of India, and not absolutely, so that we don't have to just copy these global frameworks. Why? Because somewhere the entrepreneurs also need to think that we have to create a competitive advantage, and we just don't have to do a kind of copy paste. And that's what kind of hit me when I had a word with that European entrepreneur, and he said that I certainly want to be a global leader, because still when we talk about either Google, or we talk about Twitter, or we talk about any other interface, Facebook or anything, we are still not the leaders who are dominating that entire interface. We are still not being able to create the competitive advantage. So in spite of having the global frameworks, the Indian landscape is certainly different, the sentiments are different, the societal impact is different. So why responsible AI is critical in India? Because India's robotics and AI story is unique. Indian reality is high population density, informal labor markets, critical infrastructure dependence, defense, public services, and healthcare deployment. And India is deploying robotics in every space, be it defense, be it manufacturing, be it healthcare, be it smart cities, be it in our own respective houses. So risk without responsibility is certainly amplified in India. And if something wrong happens after giving 99% of services or user effectiveness, customer friendliness, one thing goes wrong, and that too in robotics, robotics, the entire good work will go for 6. And all the efforts, all the cost that has been invested upon goes for 6. And if this robotics needs to get applied in the rural market or in the rural landscape too, since now the smart villages are also coming up, so why the responsible AI becomes critical in India, understanding the demographics will give us some kind of thought leadership to our leadership in the bots who are in the space of bots, that why we need to be little different when we are creating some framework in the space of India. So when we talk about the responsible AI in the Indian landscapes, scale plus diversity magnify the AI impact. Diversity, if you are deploying in Northeast region, if you're deploying in the rural region, if you're deploying in the corporates, if you're deploying in a manufacturing of healthcare, everything is going to be extremely diverse. So public trust determines adoption. The trust with the distributors, the trust with the OEMs, the trust with the consumers, that certainly will determine whether they are going to adopt this product or service or not. So alignment with Digital India and DPI frameworks is certainly must. And then ethics plus inclusion is a strategic necessities, and that's where we build the trust or some kind of leverage over our respective stakeholders. So the trustworthy robotic framework, when we talk about as a core, the trust 5 is what I thought, since we have used this word multiple times. And trust, T for transparency, we can talk about R, reliability and safety, U, user accountability, and then S, security and data governance, and T, traceability and oversight. So we'll try to explain these things what came to my mind as in considering the Indian unique demographics. So transparency, when we see a robot must never just be a black box, as users must understand what data it sees or what data it uses, how decisions are they making. We can present that, okay, this is the bot who going to help you in some kind of decision making, but the how of that intelligent user in the Indian landscape needs to get perhaps satisfied so that they can build that kind of trust on that particular product. So how decision is he making? What limitations are existing in that bot? So in robotics, the explainable models of the artificial intelligence and the clear human interface, human machine interfaces and disclosure of AI assisted decision builds a little level of trust while we are trying to interact or negotiate with our users. So in robotics, when we see the clear human machine interfaces or disclosure of AI assisted decisions, there have been a lot of cases in some of the robotic organizations where they have been able to kickstart at least some kind of supplies when they have taken these two pointers. Then reliability and safety. So now in robotics, failure can mean physical harm. What can be the key requirements? Fail-safe mechanisms, continuous testing, bias and edge case simulation. So safety first architecture is must when we are creating a governance framework. Redundancy systems that reduces the cost as well. The stress testing in the real environments. Then user accountability. That's human in the loop. AI assists human. AI does assist, but human remains accountable. Clear responsibility metrics should be made before we step into the market. The human override mechanisms should be there. Defined escalation protocols should be there. So human in the loop governance cannot be ignored. We are creating bots, we are creating decision makers, but certainly the human intelligence cannot be ignored, and the trust with the human will always remain. So behind the bot, which brain is sitting, which person is sitting in the organization should always have some kind of matrix which can be approached by the customers. Then the accountability assignment, the decision escalation ladders should also be some part where we do the accountability, where we do the user accountability in this framework. Then security and the data government. In trust like S, security and the data governance, when we see a robot is also a moving data center. And interestingly, I was just doing one research on the space data centers, where in 2027 it is said by that some kind of pilot project will start in the space data center. So that's something very interesting and mind-boggling for me as well. So let's come to land and not in the space, but security and data, the robot is also a kind of moving data center on planet Earth. So what can be the risk? Surveillance misuse, data leaks, and the cyber physical attacks. So contemplating these kind of risks, we must have a secured by design architecture, data minimization, and compliance with DPDP. That's the Act of India, and of course the GDPR rules. Then traceability and oversight. So if something goes wrong, can be audited. Decision logos, version controls, or the independent audits. So these are the kind of thoughts we should have, and audit trials should be there. The life cycle governance should be there. The third party oversight should be there, either by an auditor or maybe an external consultant should be there, so that we don't just remain emotionally attached with our own design, and we are open to do a kind of change before shooting the pilot project. So this is what I spoke about a little on the trust, framework of the trust, where I have made some pointers in all the words of trust. So before we get into the case study, just a little understanding while interacting with the individual of this European space who are having a fleet of like 200 to 250 robots, and initially they thought to sell the robots to their respective customers or their respective clients where they are operating even in US and Dubai, and now they're planning to have their operations in the Indian landscape as well. So considering all the challenges and the diversity of the India, since Telangana has come up with the entire AI hub and the AI city, that's where the interest of that entrepreneur came in, and that's where the interaction and the conversation started. That is where when I learned about their operations and their entire thought leadership, and of course the kind of challenges even in that landscape is coming, that in that landscape that they are coming with, it came to my mind about the framework which they have applied in the Dubai or in UAE varies in the framework of Europe, and of course in Indian landscape they are still working on it. We being in Europe, Belgium, the framework varies, and UAE the framework varies. So that's where I do not know what is the framework in JANU or in the other organizations in the robotics space which are working. And actually we are in the space of design, or we are in the space of deployment phase. These people have started in the deployment phase by leasing to their clients in one go 100 to 150 robots, and planning as of now not to increase their space or numbers of robots from 250, considering of course the issue of cost. Now while interacting with Bhushan, I certainly came across with some elements of trust that people or the customers are not able to have faith that robots can do these kind of or that kind of whatever work that we try to sell in the Indian landscape. Certainly that can be some pointers of discussion, but let's see some case study that can be global autonomous warehouse robotics, where there were certain challenges of worker injuries. There were certain challenges in the productivity pressure, the algorithm driven speed escalation. So what does the responsible AI, what can be the response for that matter of the responsible artificial intelligence? Certainly speed gaps near human beings. Then the supervisor overriding the controls, and the transparent productivity matrix. So there have been multiple cases in many organizations where in fact there has been a US company also where the robotics, where the robot created a lot of injuries. The Russians tried with their human bot, which they were not successful about. Of course, China's stories are still successful, at least in the organizational space, not in the army space. They have still not yet deployed in any harsh conditions. But certain challenges which most of the organizations have come across. So the life cycle governance should be one factor that should be matter of concern when we are creating these kind of frameworks in the Indian landscape, as taken by the global case studies. So autonomous warehouse robots is a kind of Amazon type systems where issues which I have just discussed have been there, and the lesson that we have learned is the efficiency without human safety erodes trust and invites the regulations. And regulations is certainly it become form of, or it become part of the governance. So when we touch the Indian case study, the artificial intelligence assisted medical robotics, that can be used in surgical or in the diagnostics. So tier 2, tier 3 hospitals are there. Doctor shortages are certainly seen. High patient volumes can be seen. So what can be the risk? Over reliance on AI outputs, accountability, confusion, responsible AI approach. AI as a decision support, not a decision maker. So mandatory human validation is imperative, even if we have shortage of that kind of talent in the Indian landscape. So clear patient disclosure can be, we have a clear patient disclosure without any kind of issue. So what can be the lesson here? Trust grows when AI augments and it not replaces the human judgment. So what leaders must do? What should be a matter of discussion? Maybe responsible AI is not a engineering checkbox. It is certainly a responsibility of a leadership. So setting ethical boundaries at the board level and embedding AI governance into strategy. And 3 years before writing my this policy paper on governance, while getting aligned with one of the organization in an advisory space, when I said before we get into either a business strategy or a corporate strategy, governance needs to get embedded in that strategy. I mean, like most of the times governance is spoken about when we have created a strategy, when it is deployed and something goes wrong, and then we come back and then we talk about the governance. So governance is something when we are just creating a strategy and we are talking about a long term, if we are like establishing a plant and investing a lot of money into it, that is the point where the mindset of safety, security, governance should be there to mitigate risk, losses, of course, regularize all the kind of costs. So the boardroom truth certainly remains trust as a strategic capital and embedding artificial intelligence governance into a strategy. So certainly when we align a product legally and the risk teams, we need to be prepared for the future regulations and not to react to it. That something goes wrong and then we are coming back and then we are just reacting to it. And that certainly goes in every landscape and not just with the robotics. So certainly contemplating having a futuristic mindset is imperative and of course cost effective as well. So what can be the leadership imperatives? AI governance committees, ethics by design as a culture, regulatory foresight and trust as a strategic capital. So the future of robotics will certainly not be defined by a powerful algorithm, but the most trusted system. And that's where once we reach to that level, we can talk about by achieving or creating the competitive advantage and by being in the space of global leader in either in the designing space or in the deployment phase or in the space when we are framing a governance framework. So companies that certainly build the responsible artificial intelligence today will shape the markets tomorrow. Those who are going to ignore it will certainly going to face the resistance, the regulations, and of course the reputational loss. So trustworthy robotics is certainly not a constraint. Most of the time people, the moment they hear governance, it comes as a regulation. It's not a constraint on innovation. It is a foundation of sustainable innovation. So trust is a new technology. Responsible AI equals to market access. Governance equals to competitive advantage. And leadership is equals to accountability and creating competitive advantage and best practices in the organization is one of the responsibility of evolution. And that's why we chose this topic. And I will close my thoughts.
Good evening, madam. It's a wonderful thought process. Can you please elaborate on this sustainable innovations and what are the initiatives as a country we have taken up? Can you please elaborate on that? That's a very, very valid point you are taking up. Yes.
So at a country level, what we have taken, we can maybe talk later, but sustainable innovations is something which doesn't collapse either by the cost ineffectiveness. Sustainable innovation happens when we are able to create a sustainable life cycle and a running revenue towards it. Of course, we talk about the ROI associated with innovation. Innovation is expensive, technology is expensive. So once it is created, it is sustainable when we are able to manage cost wise. Second, sustainability comes with it is the green. We are talking about ESG these days. So certainly the impact, what is, and I'm sitting in Delhi where we just keep talking about AQI all the time. The entire day is still having a fog. So of course, when we are talking about being a global leader, when we are talking about creating a competitive advantage, we need not to wait what is the global framework doing. We are in a different landscape altogether. Certainly in the manufacturing space, how are we disposing the plastic? How are we we disposing the wastage? What is the policy that the government is saying for it? And the warehouses are not full of all the waste that we have created. We have got after creating a bot. So all those things should be kept in mind while we are innovating technology into a robotic, so that one, we do have a regular or we have a as thought return on in the investment, and secondly, we do have a thought of the ESG, that's environment, sustainability, and governance. What the in country is doing in this space is certainly we have done a lot of work. We have started with a thought process in Telangana. There have been a lot of investments by the global investors. However, my personal thought is the skill is still lacking. Microsoft has done investments, Amazon has done investment, and all these organizations have done investments to create a competition for their own selves. We need to have our own infrastructure where data sovereignty is maintained. We need to have our own infrastructure so that we have our entire ecosystem which is secured and cannot be breached by any of the external maybe interface. So that's where I feel skill sets are still lacking into, even when we have a lot of investors, and we need to have thought leadership. We should not be only talking about things at a transactional level where things are done at a level of data entry, but we need to be in the space of designing. We need to be in the space of deployment, which already the other nations have already started doing that. So yes, investors are there, organizations have invested, Amazon, Microsoft, Google. Telangana is doing a great work. They have created, they have a plan of creating the entire ecosystem as an AI hub. But yeah, I mean, the skill sets needs to be kind of checked into once everything starts getting to the execution phase. I hope that gives you the answer for this.